Welcome to 2x. Today we're going to discuss about the set 3 of the drama Justice by John Galsworthy, and today's topic is its characterization. That means today we'll discuss about different characters, major characters, and their way of contribution to the development of the story. And this one liner in nature, and I will try to give you the best possible inputs, informations regarding the development of the characters, regarding the characteristic features of different personalities who have role in this story. So let's proceed to today's characterization section. Firstly, you should know that the setting of the story is in London, and the incident took place in a solicitor's firm. So be conscious of the setting. This is a solicitor's firm or office, and it's in London. The principal characters are William Felder, Mr. Coxson, Ruth Honeywill. Though other characters, James Howe, Walter Howe, and some other characters are there who have matchless contribution for the development of the story, for the fulfillment of the story. So let's proceed to the characteristic features of each and every characters, major characters. First of all, William Felder is the central character. He is the protagonist. He he can also be treated as the hero, but rather we should speak him. We should tell him an unheroic hero, not the hero of the Greek drama or Greek tragedy, but he has the pathetic nature. So we can say that he has the unheroic heroism. So unheroic hero. Next, he is a young man of 23. He is 23 years old only, and by profession he is a junior clerk in a solicitor's firm. He was sent to prison for 3 years. That means he had imprisonment for 3 years for manipulating. He did a forgery. The forgery is about manipulating a check from 9 to 90 pounds. He was given a check that was 9 pounds, and he uh, manipulated it into 90 pounds. The raised amounts he needed in order to support his post-marital life with Ruth Honeywill, and he marries Ruth Honeywill. Though she had another relation, she had a married life, and her previous husband was a brute-like man and tortured her like a brute. And towards the end of the story, William Felder commits suicide by jumping from an office window. He's a weak-willed person and a nervous person, both characteristic features of his attributes, but with a good intention. But he had good intention of what? Of giving relief to a suffering woman. He was speaking about Honeywill. The act of forgery he did only to be compassionate, or only to be concerned about the women whom he loved. She is Ruth Hannibal, and she was leading a hell life with, and she was leading a hell life with her husband. And he's a pathetic figure. That means William Felder. He's a pathetic figure rather than a tragic one. This is why some critics prefer to say him a unheroic hero. Next, we'll know about Ruth Honeywill. Not actually, it should be Honeywill. Honeywill, sorry. She's a poor, unimpressive woman married to a brutish drunkard. That means I'm speaking about his previous husband before her marriage with Felder. Next, like Ruth in the Old Testament, that means there is a biblical reference of Ruth. that happens to be in the Old Testament. She is a sad and gloomy figure. So about her, we must say she is a sad and gloomy figure. And there is the Ruth. This reference is found in Old Testament. Next, the women for whom Felder commits the forgery to save her or to protect her from her British husband. Actually, he wanted to, that means Felder wanted to take Ruth and her two children from her cruel husband to give them relief from the uh, regular life, from the life she was leading in a hell with her brute-like, a brutish husband. Next, we learn about Robert Coxson, the senior clerk in the solicitor's firm. In the solicitor's firm, Robert Coxson was the senior clerk. A good-natured man. He was a good-natured man, a member of the lower middle class society. He represents the lower middle class society, and we can find his limitations, as he knew uh, much about the innocent Felder, but he did not have the audacity to stand against the upper class, the dominating upper class society. So the limitations of his being a lower middle class is quite manifest throughout the drama. He supports Felder, but he does not hesitate to support Felder as per his capacity. He supports Felder throughout the trial while he was in prison and after his release. He supports Felder throughout the trial, when he was under trial, when he was imprisoned, and after his release from the imprisonment. He understands Felder and feels for him. He has a special feeling for Felder, but cannot go against his employer, as the church the accused as and Felder was accused by his employer, by his employers. He was unable to go against his employer, but from the beginning to the end, he had support for Felder. Now we'll learn about James Howe and Walter Howe. James Howe. James Howe is the father of Walter Howe. Both are the partners in the legal or the solicitor's firm, and they were the co-owners. And James Howe is the embodiment of the cruel, inhuman, social, and legal system. That does not mean that he is the antagonist and he is the anti-hero, but he was the representative of the prevalent social order, prevalent morality. That means you have did some mistake and you will have to be punished. He was a straightforward type of person. That means if somebody did some misdeed, he is bound to be under trial and get punishment. But he was not willing to he was neither willing to not interested about the situation which compelled one or compelled Felder to commit such a misdeed. Next, he represents prevalent conventional morality. So he is the representative of the traditional or conventional morality. Owner of the farm. He is the one of the co-owners of the farm with his son. And Walter Howe is the son of James Howe. Walter Howe is the son of James Howe, but his characteristic features are somehow completely different from James Howe, and he is pathetic about uh, Felder, and he requests his father or urges his father to be compassionate about Felder, as he was purely a good person and he did it under pressure, and he also wanted to uh, give him relief as it was his first crime. He's a generous person. He's a generous person and judges everything on the human grounds. He's the representative of humanity. He opines that Felder a gentleman. Felder is a gentleman. This is his opinion about Felder, and must have been tempted to commit the forgery. And Felder was actually tempted by someone, tempted by situation to commit such a forgery. So this was not his intentional crime. So he maybe let's go, or let's free from the legal trials. Partner in the law firm, I already told you that he was the co-owner of the law firm or the solicitors firm. uh, they caused Felder's arrest. Both James Howe, Walter Howe at the very beginning caused Felder's arrest as the just against him to the legal authorities. But after his release from the prison, they are willing to discuss about his re-employment. There some twist is there. They are not adamant about their previous stand, and they were willing to talk with Felder about his re-employment. Next, Davis. This is a minor character, you can say. He is a junior clerk of the same firm, or the same solicitor's firm. He was initially suspected of altering the check. Initially, he was the suspect for committing the act of forgery. But in course of time, Cowley, the bank manager, he detected that the forgery was done. So Hector From is the Felder's attorney during the trial, or Felder's law counsel during the trial. He thinks justice is a machine. According to him, justice is a machine. Kind-hearted and compassionate man. He is a kind-hearted and compassionate man. Thinks of Felder's welfare. He was concerned about Felder. He was unwavering he has unwavering commitment to his duty as a lawyer. He does his level best to perform his duty. Harold Cleaver. Harold Cleaver is the prosecution counsel in the play Justice. He strongly opposed the plea of the defense counsel to save Felder. Mr. Cleaver argues that Felder had committed the act of forgery with a pre-planned intention, and for which he should be punished. So major characters these were the major characters in the story by not story actually story, but a drama by John Galsworthy. And I think today's session will be very helpful for you. This were preparing for different competitive exams. So if you like it, so don't forget to subscribe it, and don't give a thumb. So thank you again for watching the video.